Hi everybody, welcome to Cowboy RC. Today I'm going to do the first in a series of long-term truck reviews. This particular review is going to be of the FMS FCX10 K5 Blazer. Now I have had this truck since March of 2024. I got this one upon release of the vehicle, and as you can see, I have used it a little bit. I just pulled this right off the shelf today, as is, dirt and all. I do maintain my vehicles, but however, I don't subscribe to having any shelf queens, so they do all get out in the Wyoming dirt and mud. I would like to get some more running videos up on my channel, however, my biggest obstacle is usually the Wyoming wind. It's been raining for a few days now, hence all the dirt and mud on my trucks, but as the weather improves, I promise I'll get some more running footage of these vehicles. This truck has been absolutely amazing. As you can see, I have a few custom touches on it. I added the FMS metal bumpers, tow hitch, recovery rings. The wheels are cast steel beadlocks and mud tires. I got those off of Amazon. These are Hobby Soul wheels and tires. They came as a set. In fact, I've got 3 of these Blazers, one in each color, and I have these wheels on every one. I've got 2 white wagon wheel sets and then the black ones that are on this truck. Some custom windshield graphics there, courtesy of my wife. She makes stickers. Wendy's Wrinkle Ranch Creations is the name of her enterprise. She does a great job. And on this, as you may be able to see, I cut the window tint out and left the window frame. After I installed the interior in this truck, which was a later release, I decided to do that for a little more visibility. However, I didn't cut the side windows out on this one, which you can do. I just thought it looked good enough the way it was. Biggest advantage for me of having the interior in there is keeping a lot of the dust out of the cab. Also on this truck, a difference from stock is I did not install the rear window. You can probably see I've got a little fire extinguisher attached to the roll bar up there, just for a little detail. But I didn't install the rear window on this cap because they're awfully easy to carry this way. Out in the field, I can carry the truck under here or by the topper, and they are nice and sturdy. My custom bow tie on the back window, I've got one on each side. Again, courtesy of Wendy's Wrinkle Ranch Creations. And I'm going to pop the cab off here and show you the internals of the truck. There we go. There we are. And once again, as I said, this one has been out in the field. I clean them periodically. This truck has been very good in all conditions. Wyoming is a harsh climate. If you've been here or live here, you know that. We have a lot of dirt because we have a lot of sand and sagebrush out here. This truck has been fabulous. It runs well in deep snow, hooks up well. Nice traction, nice power, very durable. The only thing I've replaced on this particular truck is a steering servo. I replaced it with the Team Corrali 45 kg servo. It's a direct mount. It was recommended early on the forums when some people said they're having steering servo issues on these trucks. Little pricey, but I own 2 of them. This one installed, and I keep one as a backup. Very durable, nice reaction time, good power. The stock servo, I thought, had failed internally, and it hadn't. Upon closer inspection, what happened is I had run over something, and there was a cut in one of the wires down low, right in that area, to the stock servo. I had changed them out, and then I discovered that, tested the servo, it was good, so I repaired the wire, and I keep the other one, the stock one, as a backup. My shift servos and diff lock servos have been flawless on this truck. The only thing I've ever had to do with any of them is maybe a little endpoint adjustment, which is common with anything mechanical and operated on a cable like that. Of course, things are going to stretch, they're going to move. I had one of the diffs that wasn't engaging in lock. All I did was endpoint adjust it. We're golden. Now, typically in this truck, what I'll run for power is a 5200 milliamp battery. I like these. Sorry. I like Z batteries. Have been really reliable for me in the past year. This is a 5200 milliamp 2S battery. This truck on 2S is great as a trail rig. You can also run 3S. I haven't had any problems running the higher power battery. It's pretty spicy on 3S. Honestly, a little more speed than you would like for crawling situations, but it is fun on the trail too, and I will on occasion run 3S. And there again, I run this 5200 milliamp Z battery 3S pack when I run that power. 5200 milliamp is a great size for this battery tray. As you can see, it fits in there perfectly. No problems there. I'm going to flip this over and we'll take a look at the underside. Show you how it has held up over the past year. Shocks look pretty good. There's some gunk in there I need to clean out. Mud, etc. They've been good, and suspension performs, really well. Still nice plush suspension with these out of the box. Good dampening. The underside here, you can see it's definitely had its share of use. Rock rash underneath on skid plates, steering arms, etc. And if you notice on this truck, and I know when it came out, the concern with people was these diff lock pieces here not being protected. And I have not installed the guards for those on any of my trucks, and I've not had any problems. The only problem I had on any of these diff locks is on one of them. Can't remember which one of my trucks did it now, but on one of these I had, sorry for the motion, I had this back out, and I lost it on the trail somewhere, and the whole thing came loose, and that was just a vibration type issue. And I replaced it, put it back in, no problem. Drive shafts have been great on this truck. As you can see, they've gotten their fair share of use. A lot of scale miles on this truck. Everything has held up well, extremely well. It's a great trail truck and a competent crawler for more extreme terrains, rocks, etc. I just love these FMS FCX10 Blazers. There's the underside of the body. Little dirt, once again, that happens. If you use them, that's what happens. I lost, out on the trail, I lost the mirror insert on this side. It was in the winter. I think the adhesive had let go. I looked for it in the snow, didn't find it. So I fabricated my own. It doesn't look too bad in my opinion. Little aluminum foil, cut a piece of clear Lexan I had laying around. It was a package material from something else. Cut it to fit pretty well, glued it in there. Doesn't look too bad in comparison to the stock, in my opinion. Minor detail, but it's been an outstanding truck. I would recommend this to anybody. When I first started looking at this type of model, I was torn between this and a TRX4 because they both had similar features. However, I went this route because this truck was a little cheaper, and a big factor for me was it came with the lighting. And I like to drive these at night quite a bit in my crawl spot here, especially in the summer when it's nice and warm. This one came with the lighting and a lot of great features, so I went that route. Not bashing a TRX4, however, I did put one of these up against a friend's TRX4 in the winter in the snow in a local park, and gotta say, my FMS rig really outperformed his High Trail F-150. I went over a lot more stuff than he could. And I had lights. It wasn't nighttime, but you know, if I wanted them, I had lights. He hadn't installed the light kit yet on his, but for the money and the features, I don't believe you can beat these, especially as an entry-level type crawler for people. Has a lot of great features that might seem complicated at first. They're really user-friendly in my experience. Even setting the endpoints on your channels, very user-friendly. I do have other brands of crawlers, so I can compare in reference to some of them. And these, in my opinion, are just outstanding for the money and for the functionality. I mean, I have taken these things everywhere around my local neighborhood, and they are my go-to trucks. When it snows, I have some other trucks that are a little more scale, different brand, RC four-wheel drive, for instance. And I love their trucks too, but they're not as capable, especially in deep snow conditions. Some of the things we get here, I need the clearance that these provide. Power it on here. I'll show everybody a little bit of the lighting, how it's still nice and functional. Get the body on there. There we go. Power it up on my 2SL. I've had this truck, as I said, it's going to be 14 months now. Everything still works on it perfectly. Had to do nothing to it, and I do have a custom Wyoming license plate on, or a set of them on all of my FCX10 Blazers. Nice little touch. And I had just gotten into this hobby about a year and a half ago. I became physically disabled after a back surgery and was looking for something to do. I've always been a car guy. I spent 10 years selling and financing automobiles as a professional. Too beat up to wrench on the big ones. They cost a lot more money. So this was a good hobby for me to get into. And I absolutely love it. And the FMS FCX10 series, these Blazers, was my first entry into the 110s. I started out with the 118 and 124 scale vehicles, and I just fell in love with them. And within 6 weeks, I had bought one of these in each color after release because I liked them so much, and I customized them all a little differently. I do a little bit on these, do some detail work. It's not as evident on this black truck here, but I will go through with a fine black Sharpie, detail the door lines. You can see it here on the stock truck. This is a solid chrome strip. However, I did take a Sharpie and at least mark where the door line is. Gives you a little more scale realism. And I picked up on this tip from Jerry at Jerry's Old Guy Reviews online. Shout out to him, big supporter. Another older guy who likes RC vehicles, and he was doing detailing tips like that. And I remember detailing from my days growing up in O-scale model railroading, so kind of gotten into that. I love the detail on these vehicles, and as you can see, even the trim on this truck is held up well. I mean, chrome trim has a little nick here and there. Usually if they get a little loose, I'll just take some clear fingernail polish and stick them down, but they've been very durable, especially here. I run through a lot of sagebrush, tall sagebrush here in Wyoming, and these bodies just hold up perfectly. And if I clean this up here shortly and hit it with some detailer or Meguiar's car wax and buff it out, it'll look showroom new again, and especially after all the miles this vehicle has on it. That is just amazing. Anyway, I am new to this, and this is my first long-term review. I highly recommend you pick one of these up, especially if you're looking for something that's user-friendly, very versatile to get in the 110 RC game. And personally, for me, I had back surgery, and I was supposed to be walking around and getting my steps in as part of my rehab, and following these little trucks around on the trails is a heck of a lot more stimulating than a treadmill, so it works for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please be kind in your reviews, and go get out today and run a little truck. Bye.